While I understand the arguments made by the Right Honourable Gentleman for West Bromwich East and sympathise with many of them because they're in the spirit of my 10-minute rule bill, I cautiously welcome the statement by the Secretary of State today because I believe that will deliver money to start proper, independent research and analysis on what can and should be done to protect the vulnerable. So with caveats, can I ask my Right Honourable friend to confirm, first of all, when will the voluntary levy start happening? Secondly, can it be front-loaded so that there is a pool of money to do this research as soon as possible? Thirdly, who will determine who does the research? And fourthly, how will those who have not yet volunteered this levy be implored to join the party and contribute to voluntary levy as well? And lastly, slightly separately, what progress has been made on a ban of all gambling adverts during live sports?
Perhaps, Madam Deputy Speaker, I can start at the end. In relation to a ban on advertising during live sport, he will know that in, I think, a few weeks' time, on the 1st of August, we expect to see instituted a ban on advertising during the currency of live sporting events before the watershed. So there is progress being made on this, and we are pleased to see it. In relation to the other points that my honourable friend raised, and incidentally, Madam Deputy Speaker, I would thank him and pay tribute to him for the considerable pressure that he has continued to apply to the industry. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the credit for this announcement being made goes not just to those making it, but to many members of this House on all sides who have applied consistent pressure to the gambling industry in this regard. But he asked me about when the voluntary levy will begin. As I indicated, I think one of the advantages to this approach in comparison to a mandatory levy approach is that we will start to see the fruits of it very shortly. So by the end of this year, we expect to see additional funding coming through into the targets that we wish to see addressed. Secondly, he asked me about front-loading this. Of course, what we want to see is those who are going to be able to use this money able to set the parameters for how it should be used. And so we must make sure that demand is met. At the moment, it is not, I think, likely that those who would be spending this money would be able to spend 60 million a year. But of course, we want the industry to be receptive to requests for money as and when they are made, and they have indicated that they will be so. So I think we must make sure that we are meeting demand as it grows. And thirdly, in relation to research funding and who will decide where it should go, as I've indicated, it will be for the industry to propose where this money should be spent, but it can only be spent in areas where the Gambling Commission and indeed others believe it is an appropriate expenditure.